let's move on. Group term life insurance plans are designed to offer life insurance to a group of people under a single policy. But should you consider opting for group term insurance? How do they differ from other insurance plans? Let's answer all of these questions. We have Kapil Mehta, co-founder and CEO, SecureNow.in. Kapil, good evening and welcome to the show. Just to get a general sense, what exactly is a group term insurance policy?
A group term insurance policy is a term life, which means that if somebody dies, then there's a benefit, large sum of money which is given to the nominee. But if a person survives, then nothing is given. And it's a group term because it's typically issued, a company buys it for its employees or a group buys it for its members. So it's bought by a company rather than by an individual.
So is this a kind of policy that usually employers offer to their employees?
Yes, it's becoming increasingly common. It's not yet as common as a group health insurance, but more and more companies are offering it. Typically, the company will buy it and offer it as a benefit or a perk to its employees.
So, Kapil, as compared to a standalone term insurance policy, okay, that an individual take, if I have to compare a group term life insurance policy, in terms of sum assured, in terms of your coverage, in terms of your premium, in all these parameters, how different is a group term insurance and which is better?
Well, there are some advantages to a group term and there are some advantages to an individual term. If I can just give you a sense of the group term first. The big advantage that a group term has is that you don't have to go in for medical tests and the entire group is covered immediately. So that's a very easy way to buy and get access to term cover. That's the benefit of it. Because a company is negotiating the rates, they tend to be competitive and you tend to get lower rates than what you would get as an individual. That means they're cheaper. And third, if there's a claim, then, again, the company helps out and the claim gets paid to the nominee. So it's an efficient insurance to buy. However, individual term has some benefits in the sense that it is your personal insurance. So tomorrow, if a person were to switch a job or the company were to change its policy about giving group cover, then if you have your individual term, at least you have the financial security that something happens to you, the money will come to your family. So I do believe that it's very important for people to have their individual term plans and not depend only on the group term cover. But if the company gives you group term cover, that's great. It's sort of an add-on that you must have and must value.
Kapil, if you are not with an organization, you will not get a group term life insurance policy?
Generally not. I would say that 95% of the group term policies sold in the market are what is called an employer-employee term life. That means you've got to be working in a company and the company must want to give that benefit to you. The 5% which remains are what we call non-employer-employee groups or affinity groups. Those are very rare. And an example of that is that let us say that you are part of a trust or an alumni association and the association buys the insurance for you, then you can get covered through that. But those are very difficult to get and those are very rare. By and large, it's exactly what you said. It's an employer-employee relationship.
What about your medical test and prerequisites and other things, which are taken into account before issuing you a life insurance policy? Is that all applicable when you take a group insurance policy, a group term plan?
No, it's not. So that's in fact a big benefit because, medical tests are by and large not done when you buy a group term life. And there's an exception to that I'll tell you in a moment. But this means that, if you're suffering from some chronic condition, and that chronic condition could be anything. It could be diabetes, thyroid, you may have had a heart attack, whatever it is, you'll still get issued the group term life. Whereas you may not get issued the individual term insurance, or you may get those plans at a higher premium with what is called a loading. The exception to this is that there's a term in group, when you buy a group term life, which is called the free cover limit, colloquially known as the FCL. So the insurer will put a threshold of sum assured, and that's generally a high number. It may be 25 lakhs, it may be 40 lakhs, it may be 50 lakhs of sum assured. And as long as a person is below that in terms of the benefits offered, there will be no medical test. But if somebody falls above that, then they will have to go through a medical test. And increasingly, what I find is that most insurers, what they do is that, let us say there are 300 employees in a company, they will set the free cover limit so that at least the one or two most senior people with the largest sum assured have to undergo a medical test. But the vast majority of people, there is no medical test, and actually that makes it a very easy insurance for them to buy and to use.
The claim process, Kapil, what are the formalities that one needs to opt for? What's the procedure? And how different it is from an individual term insurance?
Essentially, if the employee dies, then the insurer will like to check a few things. The first thing they'd like to check is that the person has died. And that's obviously a basic thing. And who has died? Is it the person who was insured who died? Then they would want to check that what is the level of sum assured or benefit which was there in the policy. And that's because they generally want the sum assured to be not more than 10 times your salary income. And they sort of check that at the time of placement, but they recheck it when there's a claim. And then, of course, they'll ask for details around the person's bank details where the money can be paid, and also a list of who the nominee is, typically a close family member. So these are the 3 or 4 bits of information they would ask. They're very easy to put together, and once you get this, the money is actually paid out quite fast. There are a large number of insurers who commit to paying your death claim within 24 hours and actually deliver on that. In terms of requirements, these requirements are very similar to what you have on an individual case. In an individual case, if you have an early claim, that means you buy an insurance and you die in the first year itself, then that is subject to a bit more scrutiny. And sometimes there may be more documents, or there may be a small investigation and due diligence which is done. That generally does not happen in the case of a group term life.
Can I increase my sum assured for a group term life insurance? Because obviously, as we discussed also, we've established that you really need a separate term life insurance cover, which should be at 10 to 12 times your annual package. Should also cover all your risk liabilities and financial liabilities in case you're not around. Can I increase my cover, my sum assured for group insurance?
Yes, you can. So in fact, the benefit in a group insurance can be a level benefit across the company. So a company may say, look, everybody is going to get 10 lakh or 20 lakh of death benefit. Or it may be a graded sum assured, where they say persons of so-and-so seniority get more and persons of so-and-so seniority get less. Or it could be linked to your salary. So there are different ways of structuring the benefit. It's quite flexible. And so if at the time of placing the policy, you can sort of make sure that you get a high sum assured. If you have a certain sum assured now and then you want to change it in the future, these group term lives are renewed every year. It's a 1-year contract. So when the policy gets renewed, you can sort of get a higher sum assured at that point in time. This is different from an individual term life, because individual term life are not 1-year contracts. They're very long-term contracts. Could be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or till a certain age. So once you fix the sum assured in an individual term plan, you can't change that particular sum assured. You can buy another term plan to supplement it, but you can't change the sum assured.
What will be the premium that you might have to pay? This can be less than an individual term policy, right?
It'll typically be about 10-15% less. Maybe not that much less, but 10-15% less. And the advantage being that you don't have to go through medical tests when you get the policy. To give you a sense of, the premiums depend upon age. Like a term plan does, older people pay higher premiums.
So even if yeah, please go on. Yeah.
But generally, if one want to say what the average costs work out to, they work out to 3 to 4 rupees for 1,000 sum assured. So if you want 1 lakh of cover, it'll cost you about 3 to 400 rupees. If you want 10 lakhs, it'll cost 3 to 4,000 rupees. That's a sort of very rough ballpark number that I'm giving you.
In the case of a smoker, non-smoker, that condition is not counted in a group term life.
No, so that's actually that's also a benefit of the group term life, because you don't ask whether the person smokes or doesn't smoke, but you always ask that question in the case of individual insurance, and in fact load up the premium for somebody who smokes. So in group term, it doesn't get asked and nor is it checked for.
A tax benefit if you are as per the old tax regime?
You don't get a tax benefit in the case of a group term life because the company is availing of a tax benefit, through the expense reduction. So unfortunately, that's not a benefit. For that, you have to have your individual plans where you can sort of claim a benefit.
All right. I think, Kapil, that will be all. I think we've covered all the aspects of group term life insurance. Thank you so much for being on
Great.
the show and helping our viewers with that.
Thanks a ton. See you.
Thanks.